Hello and welcome to Photoshop Wednesdays on Adobe Live, where you can learn something new about the program every stream. You can also join the community by subscribing to the YouTube channel and also following at Adobe Live on Instagram. We are so excited to have you today. We are going to be compositing in Photoshop with the one and only Milly Miljkovic. Woo! Hello, everybody. Say hi. Everybody's already saying hi in the chat, by the way. We've got Oliver, we've got Clever Devlin, Cody Bear. Thank you so much for modding today. Cody says hi, Anna and Millie. Hello. Also, Oliver says hi, Anna and Millie. Thank you so much, everybody, for being so welcoming. Sean says hi, hi. Penny says hooray. Bree says hi on YouTube. Remember to subscribe on YouTube and also in the Behance chat. We are chatting it up. There are so many great features of both sites, so join in however you want. Thank you so much for being here, Millie. We are very honored to have you here. If you haven't seen Millie's work already, you should definitely check her out on Adobe on Adobe Live right now. No, on Instagram, on socials, you have a beautiful website that shows so much of your beautiful work. Millie, could you please give us an introduction to who you are and what you might be doing today on stream?
Of course. Hello, everyone. I'm Milly Miljkovic. I'm an illustrator and animator from Switzerland. I live in the south of Switzerland, so in the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland. I'm very happy to be here, and I hope you will enjoy the time with me. So today I will show you a bit of my usual process, illustrative process, let's say, which means since I work a lot with paper, in analog and in digital, I will show you a bit how to combine them in Photoshop. So we will pass by a sketch process, and then we will jump into my paper library and texture libraries. And then at the end, how compose the illustration and how to put shadows to the final one.
Which is actually very surprising. Looking at your work, it all looks like traditional photos taken of this work, and to see it done digitally, it's going to be like magic. I'm so excited.
I hope so.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, it's always magic to watch artists work, but this one, I mean, we don't even have to worry about getting paper cuts. Love that. Or at least maybe you've already gotten the paper cuts. I don't know. We can talk about it as you jump into Photoshop and start showing us your process. I'm curious, so where are these paper textures coming from?
I love to work with analog paper. Usually I import a lot of material in Photoshop. So I import with taking some pictures or just scanning them with traditional scanner. Paper texture made by watercolors or oil pastels or whatever you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So I love to work and to mix different techniques, So my goal is to get a good illustration composed by different kind of techniques.
Excellent. Mixed media. We love it.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we working on here?
So today I will show you a bit of this illustration, the process of this illustration I made for a book club event in Italy. The client asked me to propose few illustration because he wants to decide at the end which color and which shapes he prefers. So this one is one of them, and later I will show you the second one. As you can see, I choose the pink color. I love it so much. And as you can see, there are a lot of gradients because a thing I try to do in each illustration I do is to have, let's say, a layering process, but with different colors and with different gradients of one color. So in this case, I choose the pink, and you can see we start from the dark pink and then we go to the white.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Here, yeah.
It also adds so much dimension. It feels very much like stepping down into it.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, actually, I really love the feeling, but for the result, you can, you can go in in different ways, because there is not just one. You can do in different ways this kind of illustration. So today I will show you one, but of course I will show you also the other options. So yeah.
There are a million ways to do it in Photoshop, right? We all know that. It's like, well, here's one way of maybe 10 to 100.
Yeah.
By the
Yes,
way,
it's always by the illustrator, because
mhm,
sometimes you're feeling well with using only lasso or I don't know the brushes, and yes, it's different.
absolutely. And it's just the slightest differences in, stylistic approach. By the way, everybody in the chat is just loving your work. Sean says, Milly, you are rocking it. Penny says, I love Milly's logo from the portfolio, which I also love, the little off eye. So
Thank
cool.
you.
CJ says, wow, that's impressive. Lisa says, amazing artwork. So just, love as usual.
Thank
And
you.
chat, if you have any questions for Milly, please shout them out.
Yes. So I always start with, of course, the concept and the idea. But in this case, I told you is a book event. So we will talk about books and editorial stuff and stuff like this. No, so
Absolutely.
let's jump directly into the sketch. So the first thing I do before arriving to the final, let's say, illustration is the sketch, of course. So
got to get those ideas out somehow, right?
yeah.
The sketch is the way.
Yes.
Do you have any recommendations when you're in the sketch phase of how to think about the composition of your piece? Because it seems like composition is very important to your style. You use a lot of very graphic shapes and layouts. And I know that you've been to a lot of different schooling from your about section. We should definitely get into that. But also, are there any tips that you can give the chat of how to think about it in the sketch phase?
Yeah, I mean, I come from architectural studies, so I really love geometrical shapes. So in this case, I prefer to have something soft and something like sinuous, so not very regular. And when I work for a commissioned work, which is for the city of, in this case, Torino, which is in Italy, I try to have something very regular, not with a lot of details, because I don't want to distract the people from the event or from the topic of the event, So that's why I choose to work with geometrical shapes. In some cases, I used to work with regular shapes, which are very regular and linear and geometrical. And sometimes, as in this case, I used to do something much more creative and like, relaxing or something, much more soft. Yeah.
So it goes with the mood and purpose of the piece.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, exactly.
And it looks like you're sketching over, so are you just defining some of the shapes?
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic. Clever Devlin says, I want to get my paper colored pencils. I can read. Wow. Get some of my colored papers out and slap on the CNC cutter. Have you ever heard of a CNC cutter?
No.
It's a machine, as far as I know,
Oh, yeah.
a machine that cuts out basically like digital shapes that you can put in. So it's, perfect edges
Okay.
of whatever you want.
Sometimes I use a silhouette cutout machine. I don't know if it's a similar one or if maybe it's the same. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a similar
Okay.
idea. Silhouette and Cricut, I believe, are two of
Yeah,
the
Cricut.
industry standard kind of cutters for paper. And CNC machines can do things like hardcore, what do you call it? Like sheets of wood, things like that, possibly plastic. But I don't know. I've never used a CNC cutter for paper, so I'm not sure. But cool, you have a silhouette. So does that mean that you do some physical cutouts with it?
Yes,
Very cool.
I am also an animator, as I said before, and silhouette helps me a lot because when you have to do different frames, but the same action,
Hmm.
helps me a lot because you can cut everything each frame there with silhouette, so that means that you have not to do it by yourself.
Exactly. You don't
Yeah.
have to with
Yeah.
scissors painstakingly or the, X-Acto knives.
Yeah.
Clever says silhouette and crickets are CNC thingy. So yeah, I'm thinking of
Okay.
the
Right.
same thing. It's all
Yeah.
the same. Thank you, Clever. Penny says, yes, this is so inspiring. I love crafts. And I agree. Doing something with your hands is so refreshing, especially when you do a lot of digital work, but it's so freeing to have the ability to do
Mhm.
it physically or digitally, whichever, it calls to you in that instance.
Yes, and sometimes I think doing something physical relax a lot your mind because you are always in front of the computer, in front of some software, and yes, doing something physical it's much more. I mean, it could relax a lot.
Absolutely, right? It gives you a different brain feeling.
Yes, yes, but I prefer to combine them. So to do a physical part, but then import everything in digital, and then you know um, go to the final artwork.
Hmm. Absolutely. So you seem to go physical then digital. Do you ever do just digital or just physical for any reason?
Yes, yes, I do. Um, Mainly when I work in animation field, I do a lot in digital, of course, because it takes less time than stop motion technique, which is
Hmm.
everything frame by frame and everything made by your hands. So, so yes, I do.
Have you ever done that stop motion?
Yes, I work on different projects, cinema projects, and had to do some animation part in cutout actually. So, yeah, it was very funny.
So speaking of animation, okay, I guess we should start from the beginning, right? Can you talk a bit about how you wound up in this place where your passions began?
Of course, I can. I mean, I started. Of course, I attended artistic high school. Then I decided to study architecture. That's a bit strange, I know, but
I know where it
at the
comes
end
from.
of the university, I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to be an architect. I want to be an artist." So I decided to complete my studies, going to study animation and illustration in Italy. Then I come back in Switzerland, and I started my career as a freelancer. Um, so yeah, 7 years ago, actually. Uh,
Wow. How do you
yeah,
feel about freelance? Is it freeing?
yes, I like it.
Excellent. Well, yeah, if you've stuck with it for 7 years, it's doing something good and you've been doing really well. Also, just going from one thing to another, I feel like that is such a wonderful artist progression. I've met a lot of artists who have started in some other career or at least dabbled and figured out, oh no, I do want to do art. But it seems like they pick up something that they love from that other field and really work it in because it's part of who they are. And, art is usually just a reflection of the person and communicating. And it feels like I could see some architectural influence in your work where it feels like there are a lot of strong shapes, a lot of dynamic like flow to it, and there's a lot of thought and care put into the construction, obviously. So
I'm
very
happy
cool.
to hear that because that means that my everything is everything connected, So I
It's all
I I
you.
find it, yeah, I find it amazing.
Absolutely. I remember meeting someone who was an EMT, that's like a person, a first responder kind of person. And they decided at age, I think it was like 40 or 50, that they want to become an artist. And it absolutely actually really informed their work because it was all about caring for people and showing like their perspective on the world, which was very much formed in their time as an EMT, which was very cool.
Yeah.
So you're refining the sketch here, it looks like.
Yes.
Is there
Um,
anything that's going through your mind as you're doing that?
no, actually, this is a very sketchy part, so you can do it as you prefer. I actually use this kind of brush. Sorry, it's in Italian, but I think you can understand by the icons. So I use this one usually for sketching.
Mhm.
This one is much more for the shadows.
Mm.
But yeah, it's very simple, this part, and you can, I mean, I'm not so precise here. Later I will be.
It feels like you're being iterative though, right? You're finding the right lines through multiple
Yeah.
marks, figuring out exactly which one feels right.
Ye- Yes, yes.
Very cool. And with this one, you have that beautiful color palette that you were showing us earlier. Is there a way that you come up with your color palettes from a blank sketch?
Um, Actually, we can also we can jump directly to the color
I don't mean
palette,
to
which
push
is
you. Take your time. I was just curious.
no, no, no. I'm okay. Actually, I finished the sketch, so we can really jump into the color palette because first of all, I do a little research about colors and about the combination of the colors. So for me, it's really, really important. Um,
Big part of it.
Yes. So
Ooh,
here I selected a few pictures just to show you how I do this kind of process of research. And
gorgeous.
yeah, here, as you can see, um, is there are a lot of pastel colors, and I love them. I don't know if you like it, but I
Oh, I
love
love them.
pastels colors. And this part, actually, to the research about colors is my favorite one. Because as I said before, for me it's very important to see if the pink can be combined with the orange or with the green or with the red or with the yellow, you know. So it's very, very important, this part.
So you start with the pink and then add to see what kind of colors go with it.
Yes.
Nice.
Sometimes I used to work with completely different colors, like green and pink, for example.
Hmm.
But sometimes I need to have the gradient color. So as the illustration I showed you before, you can see there are just pink shadows. So it depends of the project. It depends of how I feel. So uh, it depends of a lot of things, you know. So
Hmm.
and yeah, here, for example, it's a bit of chaos, but I have a collection of pastel colors. Here are
Ooh.
a bit of darker colors. So we have the green ones, the blue ones, and the orange red.
It feels very like ocean land kind of thing where it's like different areas of the earth.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And yeah, then I have this one. Um, and I took this picture here because I wanted to say that the manual and visual part is very important to me because uh, put one piece of paper next to the other one um, helps me a lot to see if they are very well combined or maybe they are not. So doing in real is very important to me and not in digital, because in digital you have the another feeling, you know, because it's the screen gives you another kind of perception. And when you do it physical, it's very different. So I do always this kind of work, and I take a piece of blue paper and a piece of pink paper, and I put them close one to the other one. So in this case, I can see if they match very good or maybe not.
I love them. The
Yes.
idea of those color combinations, like look at this. All of them have such well, it's different proportions of color in each piece. It's different shapes that you're creating. Do you keep these to make like just this is the piece, not just that it's like helping you get to another piece?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I have a lot of libraries, and my archives are made by these little pieces of paper. So for me, each small piece is very important because it gives me a lot, and maybe you cannot find this color everywhere. So it's very important to have everything you can. So
Absolutely.
yeah, and in this phase, I also do another thing. After deciding the combination of the colors, I separate them by the tone. So here, as you can see, we have the red ones, here the yellow ones, and here the green ones. And this is also important because if you need to do something quickly, or to take some pictures, or to import them in digital, you will find it very fast, and you don't have to lose so much time to looking for this little piece.
Hmm. It is so cool to see that process too, see like a piece of paper with the shape cut out of it because it feels like Millie was here. Like you've gotten
Yes.
that piece. I love it.
Yes, like the Little Prince, you know the book.
Yes, I love The Little
Yes.
Prince. Oh my gosh. Yes, we need to talk children's books at some point as well.
Yes, of course. I prepared my favorite ones here close to
No
me. So
way. Oh, you're so prepared. I love it.
yes.
Oh, excellent. All
So,
right. What is this? This is a special
yes.
texture of paper.
Yes, because this is made by me actually.
Ah,
Uh,
handmade. Oh my
have you
goodness.
ever tried to do paper by yourself?
When I was much younger, but I'm very
Yeah,
tempted to try it again because I've seen some beautiful
me
sheets.
too. When I was a child, I mean, in the school, in your free time, I did this, and after years and years, I came back, and I I did it again, and was amazing because you get different textures here, and as you can see here are every each piece of paper is different. So
Yes, completely
uh,
unique.
for me, it was important to also to put the picture here just to show you and to tell you that if you are if you free your mind, you can be very creative, and you can also consider to have other materials, no, not just the paper like this one, the traditional one, but you can also use newspapers, made by yourself, or paper from the old magazines, or I don't know, whatever you prefer, because illustration can be created also from this, and not only from the digital one or from the traditional or classic paper you find in the paper shops.
Definitely. The limits are
Yeah.
just your imagination, right?
Yes. Totally. Yes.
Love it. So,
Uh,
if you made a piece completely of your own handmade paper, it would be just like only you. Like you basically made this from
yes.
scratch. That's wild.
Yes. Yes.
Penny says, I've seen handmade paper on TikTok. It looks very tempting. I agree. If you've ever seen the process of it, it's very satisfying to watch.
Yes, totally.
And pretty approachable as a craft, I'd say. Where it's like, okay,
Yes,
make a
it is.
slurry.
Because you need not so many things to do it, so it's very easy actually.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
Have you ever seen them where they have things like flowers and things like that? Like they
Oh
mix it in.
yeah,
So
yeah.
cool.
That's also wonderful. When I was in Norway, I pick up some flowers, I dry them, and then I thought to myself, put them into the paper
Yes.
when you do it, because it will be amazing. I mean, the final result is very, very nice.
And then you could call it your Norway paper and just be like, ah, my
Oh.
travels. Your scrapbook could literally just be pages of like different flowers from different
Yeah.
places. Uh, anyways, continue.
So after the research, the color research, color palette, and etc., I do a focused one research. That means that I select a small pieces of paper, as you can see here, but I do an amplified selection. Then I go much more into what I want. So
Pretty.
I arrive here, and as you can see, the colors are pink and purple and blue. We are very close to the final illustration I showed you before.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, for me is also important is because when you have to talk with the client, I usually do to show him what is my process and what are the color I consider to work with. So this part is also very important for me.
It is really great to talk about, especially just, hey, tip for anybody watching in replay land and in the chat. Clients love seeing things like this. Having
Yes.
something solid to look at and be like, okay, now I can imagine it is so important.
Yes, it is. And also, the client can take this piece of paper and combine it with this one and see by himself if it works or if it doesn't work. So it's very, very important also for the client.
Absolutely.
Then after this kind of selection, I also do another thing, which is texturing papers with watercolor. As I said you before, I love to mix different techniques. And in this case, I used purple watercolor and here green watercolor. I import them in Photoshop, in digital. So then I can use it for, I don't know, texturing or made some shapes from them, and yeah, whatever you want. But I find it very interesting because yes, if you want to experiment, it's very nice to use also watercolors.
Absolutely. By the way, we have a technical question about how you gather this reference material. Clever asks, Millie, do you use balanced light for this part or full spectrum lighting? So like when you're taking photos or scanning, I suppose, what is the lighting situation for that?
Actually, I'm very simple on it because I use a simply scanner, or I use a Canon machine for taking pictures. Then I import everything in my computer, and I can balance the lightness and the contrast here in Photoshop. So it's very simple, the process of to do it.
Excellent.
Yes. And yes, I'm continuing exploring the techniques. I'm sorry, but for me
don't ever apologize. Please, we love seeing it.
Was important also to show you that we can use also all pastels. I really love to mix the techniques, so that's why I import everything I can. Not only the paper. So in this case, I import also all pastels. All pastel test I made a few days ago, and it's also interesting because it's very irregular and very dirty. I can say that. I mean,
messy fingers.
Yes, because the watercolor is very linear, very elegant, very clean, and this is very rough. So it's also interesting to have the opposite, So
absolutely. With the watercolor and the oil pastels, do you use a certain kind of paper? Are they different from each other?
Yes, because for the watercolor, I need a special paper to use the watercolor because of course you need the water. So you cannot use the simple paper you find everywhere. For the oil pastel, yes. I mean, it's not important the paper you use.
Just put it on anything.
Yeah.
It gives you that beautiful texture.
Yes. The only thing of the oil pastels is that at the end you have the oily on your fingers, so
Mm.
it's not so
Then you
you
do a
can
page full
understand
of
me
like
because
fingerprints.
maybe yes. Are you using oil pastels or watercolors for your work?
I have recently found a pastel called actually I have them right here. They're Neocolor
Ah, yes.
wax pastels, but they're also water soluble. So you can draw with them and they're like a wax pastel, not as messy as oil or chalky kind of pastels. But if you use water on the paper, it activates just like watercolor, which is very fun and very flexible. So kind of a mixture
Nice.
of what you were talking about.
Yeah. Yes, very nice.
I absolutely love that texture you got though. That is so much fun.
Mm-mm.
Ooh, yes. So pretty.
Yes, yes. Um, then when I finish to texturing, I start with let's say brush tests
Yeah.
because for me it's also important to see if this one it's well combined with the other stuff I made before. So this is very thin, this is very big. I mean, it gives you different feelings, you
Hmm.
know. And it's also important to have a brush palette, let's say.
How many brushes do you have?
A lot, a lot.
Millie's place is
And
just all brushes off camera.
yes. Yes, it's very funny because I have it really a lot. Unfortunately,
Quite
we
a
are
few.
not in my atelier. I will, yes, I'm in my house, so I don't have it here with me, but
Do you have a separate studio?
yes,
Oh, so
I
awesome.
have a small atelier here close to the home city. So yes,
Fantastic. Love that.
yes, and that's
So is it
great.
just all the art supplies? Are you an art shop? So cool.
And of course, I do the same for the oil pastels, and I do the same, and I will show you now with the brushes from Photoshop. So I have, in this case, I will have at the end traditional brushes tests and the digital ones. So
Fantastic.
yes,
So you make your own brushes in Photoshop?
yes, I also do that.
Ooh.
Um, in this case, I will show you just how are the different ones, but
Mm.
I don't will create any brush for now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally. So it looks like hard round brush and then a soft round brush. And now we've got
Yeah.
some like pressure sensitivity.
Yes, these last two, I use it a lot for the shadows, for example. And
Mm-hmm.
this one, it helps me a lot. We will see later when you have to clean something or when you want to create some shapes, because for
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I use lasso, which is this one, and sometimes I use a simply brush to create something. So
Absolutely.
it depends.
Just to let you know, we are about a half
Oh
hour
yeah.
through, so we have an hour left. So just keep that in mind. And everybody in the chat,
Yes.
let me know if you have any questions for Millie as well. Penny says, oh wait, this is in response to Clever, who says, I love pastel, but I'm so messy. That's part of the love, you know? You got to get
Yeah.
messy sometimes. And then Penny says, me too, I'm messy with all traditional art supplies. Can't take us anywhere, lol. I think the messiest I ever got was with charcoal. What do you think the messiest medium is that you've worked with?
Ah, difficult question.
On an average day, you just see Millie. She's just covered, just all mess.
Yes.
It's so funny because your pieces look so clean at the end, but it's true, the process of making it. can be anything but.
Yes, they looks actually very clean, but in the detail they are not so so much. So
Yes. Oh, by the way, I missed something from it looks like Julia says, "Ciao, Millie." Definitely architecture influence also with the three-dimensionality and shadow play, which we were talking about how your work could be like you could see the informed quality from your architecture history. So
yeah.
cool. And we'll be able to see all that shadow work that you put into your pieces.
Mhm. So then, okay, we are here into the shapes. I wanted to show you how you can get the shapes actually, because I always start, until now I show you how to texture simple document in Photoshop, or if you have some traditional texture you want to import in Photoshop and then get some shapes from there. In this case, I have a purple paper.
Mhm.
But you can also use this one I showed you before, or this one from the all pastel.
Right.
Yes, actually, I can also show you how to get some shapes from this watercolor piece.
Oh, like cut it out of this.
Yes.
Nice.
And in this case, I used to make a lot of copies of this, and I used the eraser, which sounds maybe strange, but it's very helpful sometimes. You have to be very precise with your hand, and you can do like this. Sorry. Oops.
By the way, what physical tools are you using? Like, are you using a tablet or a Cintiq?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
a tablet. Yes.
So with a stylus, not a mouse, thank goodness, because I was wondering.
Yes.
Get that
No, with the
precise.
mouse it's impossible, I think. I mean,
Right.
maybe the professional ones. Sometimes I use the tablet, the iPad with Photoshop on it, and it's very comfortable because you can sit on the sofa or you can sit everywhere,
I love
and you
that.
can draw and do whatever you want.
Yep. Just
In
curl
this
up with
case,
it.
I'm in front of my computer, so I have to use my Wacom tablet.
Yes, definitely. We love that. Oh, and Rosie says hello, hello. So excited to finally be catching a live. Thank you for being here, Rosie. Also, if you want to subscribe, we have a YouTube channel called Adobe Live, as well as on Instagram, there's an @Adobe Live page that you can follow along. Never miss a stream. Ooh, look at these nice wavy shapes.
Then I use a lasso to separate them and to have it on a different layer with a transparent background, because for the composition it's important to have nothing on it, you know. So I need to separate them.
So you're intentionally making multiple shapes that you can use.
Yes.
Nice.
At the end, I have this.
Nice. Beautiful purple. It's interesting. So you go through with the lasso tool and use it as the straight lined, like magnetic lasso tool, yeah?
Yes.
You find that easier than swooshing with your hand and possibly like catching bits?
Yes.
This is something I've seen so many artists handle differently. Like just even the lasso tool. It's so funny how you can get into the minutia of Photoshop and every little bit can be different from another person's.
Yeah.
And how are you copying those?
Copy paste. So I do 5 minute sheets, as you say. Yeah, copy paste. Oh, I mean.
Yeah, just Controller Command C, Controller Command V. Yes, hotkeys for the win.
Yes. So this is an example from this texture. Of course, you can do this, as I said before, from the all pastel texture and also from the classic paper I showed you before, like this. Oh, sorry, not this, but this one.
Yes.
And then you get your shapes. In this case, I prepared already some.
And is this from regular paper or is it painted or pasteled on? It
In a
looks like
regular
flat.
in a regular paper. Yes, I choose to use the regular paper because of the client, because he preferred to have something much more linear, clean, and regular, so without texturing and etc. But I find it always interesting to show how to do it, because we always feel like the illustration has to be made like this, but it's not real. I mean, you can also experiment and do something different.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Ok, questo yeah. Okay, then at the end I get all those shapes. As I said, you can also get from the watercolor textures. So in this case, I've prepared also some shapes from the papers like this. Yes.
Gorgeous.
Yes. Sorry.
Do you ever play around or I guess change your mind about which way or which direction the lines are going if you did a linear kind of swipe with your paintbrush?
Yes, then I do it again from zero.
Just,
But it
try it
happens, of
again.
course.
You're so funny. Do you ever use layer masks?
Yes, I use it. I use it when I have to do. I mean, in this case, I wanted to show you the traditional way, no?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, but when I work only with digital, I use it a lot. I use a lot of masks and etc.
Yeah,
So,
I was just curious. There are a million ways to do it. There is no right or wrong. I was just wondering.
Yes, no, I use it. But sometimes when you use traditional, it's not always the same as for the digital one. So, yes.
Well, there's no undo in real life, so you got to go with the eraser route.
Yes.
Snip, snip.
So when I finished to do my shapes actually, and when I have my little library of shapes, I try to compose a bit of them together, and I try to combine them actually to get a final combination and composition of the illustration based on the sketch I made as first.
Nice.
So here, for example, I have a background I choose, which is this magenta.
Beautiful.
Yes. Then I import one piece of shape. Then I import the other ones. Yeah.
Ah, you added an extra. And these already have shadow underneath, right?
Yes, because yes, here I wanted also to show you two different ways to add the shadow, because one is very automatically made by Photoshop. So here, if you go to search, in Italian shadow is ombra.
Ombra.
Ombra,
We
yes.
learned some more Italian.
Yes. You can prepare yourself for Bologna.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So we were talking before chat about Bologna Book Festival, which if you don't know, it's a massive children's book, basically hub that happens every year in Bologna, Italy. And Millie is going, and we're very excited for that. And you have gone in the past, and I'm just amazed. It sounds like the best thing.
Yes, it's really amazing.
Well, and you're not just going as a guest, you're going as a mentor and juror for the Bolo Club?
Yes.
Amazing. That is a huge
yes.
thing. If you don't know, chat, it's amazing. You should everybody claps for Millie. Yay.
Thank you. So here you can write ombra. In this case, you can choose if the ombra is external shadow or internal shadow. In this case will be external. So here you can choose the settings and define the opacity, the distance, the extension, and the dimension of the shadow. And in this case, it's very automatical, the shadow you will put on your shape. But there is another option, which is actually this one. If we don't consider the automatical shadow from Photoshop, you can use a brush as we used before. Select the black color or the gray one. Yeah, I will choose something in between. And I will select not a really defined brush, but maybe this one with a big opacity on it. And if you see, it's really, really nice to make some shadow. I choose a bigger size, so a bigger dimension, and then I can go on it.
Just paint it in.
Yes. Very manual, very spontaneous.
Very much like a shadow, you know? It's got some life to it.
Yes.
And this one, this brush, it looks like you have transparency as well as a soft edge to it. So if somebody wanted to recreate that kind of brush, they can do that.
Yes. And also, you can also use both, because if you use the one from Photoshop, you can also add again this one made by brush. And in this case, you will just emphasize the shadow. It depends how you want to have it at the end, you know, so.
So maybe experiment, play around with some different looks, see what you like.
Oops.
Oh, you got a sharp edge there. Gotcha. Do you ever play around with shadows being different colors?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I don't know if you understood, but I love colors. So I love shadow.
Like, who are you talking to? I'm color queen, okay? No, I see your love for colors, and it definitely comes through.
But actually, all the illustrators in the world loves color. No?
Well, there are certain ones who emphasize it more. I could see you have such an understanding of the nuance of combining not just color, but temperature and saturation levels, and it just comes out so aesthetically pleasing and beautiful in all your work.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for sharing your work. Beautiful. Is it ever like a really satisfying part to put in the shadows? Because I feel like that would be a nice little like, oh yeah, now it's popping.
Yes, it's also a relaxing part of the shadows. So
nice.
I like it very much.
That's an important part.
Yes, it is actually. So yes, I show you how to do it for one piece, but you can also copy paste also for the other ones, or do it again from zero. So starting from here and go through the shape. I will do quickly another one just to
show off.
Yes, again.
In the best way.
Yeah, we have time, no?
Absolutely. Yeah, we are so 45 minutes in. We've got an hour and a half, so about halfway.
Oh, great.
By the way, Clever Devlin says ink all over, paint all over, cut up paper everywhere. And just like lists all the things and says even hot sauce, laptop, tablet, phone. And that's just what I have in front of me now, not to mention the toys in the attic. So basically Clever has all the art supplies, including hot sauce. I love
Yeah.
that. I love when artists have every tool that they can possibly need in front of them. And just, the question is, what are you going to make today?
Yes.
Also, just want to say, if anybody watching would like to nominate yourself or someone you know to be a guest on Adobe Live, you can submit your recommendations in the tab above the chat on Behance. And also, Adobe's Teresa Au has conversations with some of the people who make up the rapidly expanding creator economy in her new podcast series, In the Making. Subscribe now or follow along for the full season at adobe.ly/in the making, or find the show wherever you listen to podcasts. Just by the way, if you want something awesome to listen to. Cody says hot sauce is an art supply. Well, the most important, obviously. It is funny though, when you start playing with traditional media, like you were talking about with the oil pastels, the watercolors, you can find really creative sources of different mediums where it's like, okay, why stop there? Just like you're saying, you have a million brushes. I've seen people use, little, uh, basically anything you can think of, but like a piece of a t-shirt to smear paint across the paper in a certain way, or like a little rake from a Zen garden. Use it to like rake paint across the page. There's no limit. It's really
Yeah.
just playing around, and that's kind of the best part.
Yeah. The creativity has no limit, actually.
Exactly. That's gonna be like the through line of your stream. It's just like
Yes.
you're only limiting yourself. There's nothing
Yeah.
else. But I love that message, honestly, because it's true. With all of your work, you can definitely see the you've made choices of like what you like and what you want to pursue the most. And I feel like the choices that you make may make somebody think like, oh, there's only so much that she does. And it's like, no, there's so much that you've explored and gotten to this place where you're like, I love paper. I want to use paper. But there's so much on top of that, the mixed media, the feeling of
Mm-mm-mm.
freedom and play and color and shape. All of it comes together to be every little bit of aspect of art. It's not just
Yeah.
the end result, it's the process getting there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Julia says
And
coffee is also a great paint.
oh yeah, it is.
Get some coffee up in here.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Oh yeah, look at that depth.
And which one is your favorite technique for your work? Because also you are an illustrator, right?
I am, yes, and we're both very much lovers of children's books. I make a lot of illustrations for children's books, but I love to just illustrate on my own time, and sometimes I think maybe I'll dabble in fine art, which I mean, your work is very much versatile, right? Like your the study pieces that we saw of your paperwork, I could see that hanging in a gallery, no problem. I would love to see some of your handmade paper up on gallery walls. I think that would be so cool. But also, I don't know, do you do any fine artwork?
Um, no, I mean, it's true that is very versatile, my kind of illustration.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I feel like you have to anyway focus on something, or editorial or
Yeah,
commercial or I don't know, animation, or it depends. And I'm
which you've
also
done well.
focused because I work a lot with clients which work in the public spaces. So they ask me to do illustration for the events, for cinema, for festivals, and yeah.
Very
It's
cool.
not for the galleries or for the editorial stuff.
Right. Yeah, so you're not intending it for that. I could see it being that way if you ever wanted to. Just if you ever felt like it. But I am with my medium usually, I mean actually honestly, lately I've been playing a lot more like you, where like I used to do much more digital work, and
Mhm.
now I'm learning more mediums, having more fun with the pastels, like we were talking about. I love watercolor, gouache, acrylics. Now I'm gonna try coffee.
Oh,
But yeah, all of it, I think everybody should just play whenever they have the chance and the ability to, because I mean, art supplies are not cheap for sure, but they're a
wow.
great present. So if you ever want to say like, hey, to your family who doesn't know what to get you for your birthday, just like, I'd like this kind of canvas or this kind of watercolor paper or whatever.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Oh, Kendall's in the chat. Hello, Kendall. Kendall also does motion graphics, and I was wondering, Millie, with your animation work, how did you start getting into that?
Um, I don't know how to
Question
ex
mark.
yes, to explain how, actually I started working on some smaller projects, but then they become bigger and bigger. And one was very interesting because I had the freedom to work with paper and to do everything in analog, import like I'm doing now.
Hmm.
And was a collaboration between me and another animation studio in London. We made a very interesting video about savings, the psychology of
Oh.
savings for The Guardian, and it was really, really, really amazing. And but it's a lot of work because the time is different in Paragon of the illustration field, because you for the animation you need a lot of time to do everything, and for the illustration maybe you need just few days to finish everything. So it's really
Mm.
different. But yeah, it depends. I mean, I love to work on both of this field because actually I love to change and to challenge myself to other projects and to new projects. So yeah.
Absolutely. So in the future, do you see anything that you want to get more into, but you aren't yet?
Yes. Actually, now I'm working also on a personal project, which is an animation project. It's a
Ooh.
story written by me, and it will be everything made in paper. Also, the characters, the backgrounds, so the environments, the props, everything. And I will animate them in a traditional technique of animation, which is cutout animation. It's like stop motion.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Takes a lot of
Yes,
time, but
yes, but it's really nice, and yeah, I hope to show you also this product soon. So
I would love to see that so much. And we would love to have you back on Adobe Live. So if you ever
wow,
want to show off that process, that'd be really
it will
fun.
be amazing. Yes.
I remember I used to make stop motion videos with one of my best friends, Anthony. We made little paper cutouts, and that was just for fun. And that's kind of something that shows you really love to make certain things. It's like, oh, do you just do it when there is no assignment, there is no pressure, you know? And
Mhm.
you're saying this is a personal project for you. Is there any driving force behind it? You just felt like it one day?
Yeah, the idea was born actually 3 years ago. It takes a lot of
Wow,
time to do a project like this. So that's why
definitely.
I'm talking in different times for illustration and for animation. I started 3 years ago to write a story. Actually, I had an idea in my mind because my childhood, and it was a memory of me. So I wanted to develop in a story, and I wrote the story and the subject, the characters, and everything. And then I went to a production company, and they accepted actually my project. So they were very interested in this.
That's amazing.
And then we started the collaboration, but actually we are waiting for some funds, so it's not easy. Uh, we have to be patient,
Hmm.
and yeah. you know.
Takes time, takes a lot of
Takes time.
convincing,
Yes,
but
yes, yes, yes.
very much worth it.
Yeah. But in the meantime, I do illustrations and other stuff like this. So
Absolutely. We love to see your illustrations, and I absolutely appreciate how much time goes into every second of animation.
yeah,
It's a lot of work.
yes.
Well, it looks like we have about a half hour left. So
Okay.
far, we have gotten to see a lot of your process going through from sketch phase to gathering materials to cutting out your shapes and picking your beautiful, aesthetically pleasing colors, and now adding shadows.
Yes, exactly.
Goodness.
I show you just a little part of the illustration I made because I want to also show you other stuff we will introduce in the illustration. So that's why I just do this part. But
Mhm.
in the future, if you do something similar like this, you can use this kind of technique to do also the other parts of the illustration, of course.
Mhm.
Yes.
Very
So
meditative process.
yes. Um, Here, so we are in the composition. We are jumping into the composition part, which is actually the main important. Here I've prepared. Qui sono. Okay. Some characters and some books I want to put into my illustration. I made everything in a traditional and physical way because it was much more simpler in this case. But if you want to use for a t-shirt watercolor texture, you can use it as I showed you before. You
Mhm.
can just select lasso tool and cut out from the paper your the shape you need for making the t-shirt or the pants or the yeah the
Mhm.
shoes. I mean whatever you want. Yes, but in this case I took the picture of everything I made physical, and I import in Photoshop and I separate everything in different layers. So
Mhm.
now I can go to decide the right position of them.
Yeah, figure out exactly where they belong.
Yes.
And it looks
Uh,
like you selected out their shadows, like they're not part of this, so then you would hand paint your own shadows in there if you wanted them.
yes, exactly.
Nice.
Um, yeah. Lucky.
Tucked in there, just like boop.
Look.
Very cool.
Yes. Also, this part is very you have to be very precise because you can also zoom and see if you are or not precise. In this case, I am okay like this.
Yes, this is where the perfectionists can really shine.
Yes.
Get pixel perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can still see the paper texture on there. So did you made all these people physically?
Yes.
So fun.
Yes.
Once again,
It's
imagining you in your
funny. And
studio, just like making little people. I love it.
yeah. The miniature world.
Yes.
Yes.
How big
And
are they physically, actually?
they are 10 centimeter maximum.
Gotcha. Is
Yes.
there any need for certain sizes? Like, do you want them to be bigger physically than they're going to show up in the final artwork?
Yes,
Or
it's better to have it bigger than smaller because bigger is much more high the quality of them if you
yes.
import them in by scanner or taking picture. So it's better to make it 10 centimeter or more.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes. And in this case, I also choose to have an opposite color of the pink. They are all green,
Mm-hmm.
and because in this case, you can also have a big contrast between the characters and the background. So for me, it's
For
also
sure.
important to show these also because they are much more visible when you see the poster around the city.
For sure. Yeah, you want it to pop.
Yes. And later we will see how to also define the characters, change the color of the skin, add some details on the clothes, add some notes on the books and things like this. In Yes, we have 25 minutes, right? Left.
Yeah, just about.
Okay. Okay.
And what event was this for again?
Sorry?
What is the client behind this one or the purpose of the piece?
It's a big hub in Torino City, which organize different events, music events, festivals of electronic music, yoga classes. It's a co-working and at the same time it's a hostel, and it's very interesting place because if you want to drink something, you can go there. If you want to listen some music, you can go there. If you want to have some yoga classes, you can go there. So they are organizing also a book club, which means to invite different people to share what are they reading and discuss about the book you are reading. So I think it's really nice, and I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting. Like
Yeah.
just, doing your yoga pose, reading your book in the middle of the bar, club
Yes.
scene.
Yes, you can have an aperitivo and in the meantime, so it's really nice.
Oh, I love it. Oh, Kendall says Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. Happy Valentine's Day,
Oh,
everybody. It's not
yeah,
that I
really.
forgot, it's just that, Millie's been so engaging this whole time, so I'm just like, oh yeah. Again, Happy Valentine's Day. Oh, it's funny. But yes,
Yes.
the event space, that sounds so cool. I want more of those to exist. I don't think I've ever seen a place that's like that around here.
Yeah, it's really nice. Have you
Mhm.
ever been to Italy or Switzerland?
No, unfortunately, I have never been. I have several friends from around Europe, and they all say that Italy is the place to go.
Yes, definitely.
You think so?
Yes, you will love Italy for sure.
I want to go. Well, I want to also go to the Book Festival.
Yes,
Bologna Book Festival? Fair? I can't
yes,
remember. Which again, you are going to, and you also mentioned that you had a few children's books next to you. Are these your favorite children's books?
yes.
I want to know. Tell me
Let's make a
everything.
little break. And my favorite one, but you will understand why, is this one.
Wait, I can't see. Oh, it's so pretty though. What does it say?
Defying wrong
There we go.
wrongdoers. No, they are little pieces of paper made in different
Yes,
kind of textures, but they are very
absolutely.
strange because one is very long, the other one um, is bad defined. So they are very funny, and it's
That's
really,
so
really nice.
good. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it. Look at that bike. See, this is the world of children's books is just so great. I just love
Yes.
it because you can
And
use
the
those.
writer and the author of this book, Beatrice Alemagna, is really, really nice.
Yeah,
If you don't know her, I suggest you to go to see her work because it's really amazing.
it looks gorgeous. I love that.
Yeah.
It's also such a big one.
Yeah.
That's an art book. That's just
Yes.
look at this
Yes.
gorgeous art.
And another one, yes, is this one, which
Oh
means
yeah.
round, round, square.
Round round square.
Yes.
Oh yes.
And it's about the geometric shapes, but it's a children book. So it's a story about geometric shapes, how they change and how they can become other ones. So it's really nice.
And it's all primary colors. That's so
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
The like
Totally.
limitations of saying, I'm going to work in shape, color, like basically cut it off there. There's not rendering, there's not like a big lighting factor or anything like that. It brings out such creativity with those, like the specific limitations. It's like having a prompt that just makes you, okay, so I can do this and I can't do that, but how can I push the boundaries of this? And just the page of the sun and the moon there, it's just like, it's so
Yeah.
beautifully done. I love it. Sorry, I can nerd out about books a lot. Do you ever see yourself illustrating a children's book?
Yes, of course. Actually, a few years ago, maybe two, I've started a collaboration with a girl, which is a chef, and she wanted to make recipe book.
Ooh.
Yes, and she asked me to illustrate the recipes she wrote, and it was amazing. But now, actually, we are a little bit in standby because we are waiting for some funds, and
Darn those funds.
yeah.
They're holding everything up. We need to see your animations. We need to see your books. Come on.
Yes, yes. Oh, everything in standby at the moment. No, not
So,
everything, but this book, which looks like very interesting, it's a bit, yeah, in standby. We will see. But
all
yeah, I would love
benevolent
to
millionaires who
actually.
are watching, give Millie
Yes.
money.
Yes.
You never know. You gotta put it out in the world.
Yes, who knows? Yeah.
Oh,
And I will show you just the last one, and then I'm finished with this. But this one is also very interesting. In Italian, it's l'altalena, and I think in English is the swing. Possible?
the
Yeah.
swing. This is the one.
Yes.
Oh, it's so
And
pretty, even from this far. CJ,
yes.
can we get full screen? I want to see. Thank you so much. Oh, look at that. Oh, little foxes and firebugs.
Yeah, it's really nice.
That is
Oops.
gorgeous.
And also, I love the format of this book because it's square, and it's very
Yes.
particular for the children's book because they are always much more bigger, like the first one I show you. And the square format is very particular, so yeah, very nice.
Absolutely. And that idea of the swing being very central, it seemed like on most, if
Yeah,
not all the pages. That is so
yes,
cool.
yes.
Oh, very awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those, Millie. I was enchanted. Great picks.
Yeah. So, okay, we have 20 minutes.
Mhm.
I
The less,
was
I think like 15
showing
minutes.
you, yes, I was showing you how to put the characters and the books on the illustration. Of course, I made an option like this, but you can choose whenever you want to put them because the goal is to calibrate and make a composition which has a regular final composition.
Right,
So
yeah. And
yeah,
balance all of the different
balance. Yes,
elements that you're putting in.
exactly. Very good balance. So and that's the goal of making illustrations.
Excellent. Do you ever run into problems where you just can't figure out the right, where to place this or that?
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult because when you do shapes like this, which are very irregular, you cannot always find the right solution. You always feel like it's not the right one. You must also change something or add something or it's missing something. So it's always difficult. The composition part is very hard sometimes because yeah, maybe for you it looks nice, but for someone else it's not balanced very well. So
Oh, yeah. Well, and also as the creator, I'm sure you get frustrated sometimes where you're like, you can't unsee
yeah,
something, and it's like somebody seeing it for the first time would never see that.
yes, exactly. Yes, I wanted also to show you how to add some details on the characters. Then I will show you at the end another option I've prepared, which is in purple. But the process is the same actually. It's only it's changing only the shapes, and actually the colors are the same. The characters are green, and the gradients are purple, but the rest is more or less the same.
Absolutely.
Yes. So if we go into the characters, ¿cuál será?
Oh, wow. You've got every little layer of them.
Yes. Okay.
By the way, Nora is asking, how much time would you need for an illustration like this one?
It depends, because if you consider the idea and the concept, you will need a few days, let's say 3 days, to realize everything in physical and in digital, just 1 day, but not considering the idea. Because for the idea and the concept, I always need 1 or 2 days. One for the creation in my mind, and the second day is to focus really on what I want to have. So, yeah, I calculate 3 days to make an illustration like this.
Very nice. That is a short amount of time when you consider how much work goes into it.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's
sometimes
what
you,
you get when
cannot.
you get an expert.
Yes, but sometimes you cannot find the right idea, you know. So sometimes you need also 5 days. In this case, was very fast because I was inspired by the place, by this organizing event, you know, of a lot of things, and the idea came very quickly. But sometimes it's not like this. Sometimes you need to make tests and improve it, and at the end you will get the idea.
Absolutely.
So if I go into the one character, I can also select the brush, and if I want to add some notes on the books, like the title of the book, let's say, I will use a small brush. And I can do also something very simple like this, because when I do zoom out, I will just see some little notes, but they are very actually important also to see like smaller like this. So it's quite okay.
Absolutely. Have you ever used I think it's called Navigator window in Photoshop?
Navigator?
Yeah, it's where it shows the whole piece but small in the corner. So you can see the whole composition of everything while you're zoomed in.
Okay. Oh no.
I think it's in window, but yeah, it's a great one if you're trying to keep an eye on the big picture as well as the small picture. Because you know we can all get really lost in the details pretty easily. By the
Yeah.
way, Alessandra has joined the chat saying, I'm late to the party, but just passing by saying hi. If you have just tuned in like Alessandra, we are creating cutout paper composites in Photoshop today with Milly, and this is an absolute masterclass in color and composition and textures. Milly showed us all sorts of paper shenanigans, for lack of a better term, that you should absolutely watch in the replay. Definitely check out Milly's work on her website. It's amazing. Cody linked to your portfolio in the YouTube and Behance chat. So thank you so much for that, Cody.
Thank you.
By the way, would you like any to shout out any place that people can find your work?
Oh yes, of course. I have a website which is my portfolio, Milly Miljkovic. You can also find me on Instagram, which is Milly Miljkovic name. And actually, I mostly use my website and Instagram. I think it's enough for me. And
Totally
that's it. Sometimes I use also LinkedIn, but it's a different,
Different crowd. If you want to hire her, go there.
Yes, yes, exactly.
But yeah, the limiting of the socials, I totally understand.
Yes,
Make it one,
yes,
be done.
yes, exactly. Actually, I love a lot the Instagram because uh, is the one is much more connected to my work because you post only pictures of your work, the work in progress, the final work, your stories, and it's really interesting for who is in the field of illustration and art in general, I think, no?
Do you feel like you've connected to a lot of different artists there?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, also in the animation and in the illustration field. So, yeah.
That is fantastic. Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
seeing all the different kinds of creators come together and appreciate each other's work is always a lovely thing.
Yes. I also use Behance, and you can also find me there. But this is like much more as a website, you know, where you post and promote your process of your artwork, and this is also very interesting. But very spontaneous. I find the Instagram is the better one.
Absolutely. And thank you, Cody, for posting Milly's Instagram as well. Everybody follow. Let's flutter.
Thank you. Yes. Okay.
I love the book. See, the thing is, the question is the book, is it on the person's face and they're sleeping, or is the book their head?
I think he's sleeping.
But up to interpretation. So we've got about 5 minutes before we need to say goodbye, just to let you know.
Okay. So in these 5 last minutes, I will just show you the purple one. As you can see here, I have added just the details, the nose and the eye, and I've changed the color of the ears. Yes, here I add the same, and yeah.
And
she's looking at the book, flying away.
Oh, buy a book.
Yeah,
I love the book that's also tucked in on the left side underneath the paper.
Yeah.
And the shadows on this look so natural. You have just such a touch for that, making it look like it's just a picture of a physical piece.
Allora, in this case, I made I've tried to do a little test in physical. So I take a picture of the composition made in physical, let's say. Nice. And at the end, I've added some shadows in Photoshop, as I showed you before. You can emphasize them a little bit. So it takes a bit of time, but it makes the illustration much more beautiful, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and when you have the ability to touch everything up, right? How can you resist?
I mean, it's only you can also do the composition in analog if you prefer, but at the end you always will go through Photoshop, because Photoshop helps you to retouch the details you cannot do by your hand. So it's really, really important to know to use a bit of Photoshop, because for the creative people it's very important.
And there are so many different ways to use it, as we've talked about today. Thank you so much for showing your specific process going through this, because it's fascinating to see how much you've kept of the analog process and kept true to that the entire time. And it's just absolutely stunning work that you create.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Clever Devlin says this one is moody. It's interesting how much the color can change, the vibe of the whole piece.
Yeah.
Did you intentionally leave space for any text if this is a poster for an event space?
Yes, because this part is for the next week. I have to add the typography part and the logos and the.
You do it all.
No, actually the graphic designer, but they send me always some prototypes just to have in mind where you can put it. So you can decide with the graphic designer where is the right place for them.
Excellent.
Yes.
Clever
but
says.
Fortunately exist graphic denders, because
I know, I was surprised to hear you be like, oh yeah, I'll put in the text and the logo. I'm like, whoa, good job, but also that's a lot. Kendall says that she really loves these. Clever says nice, compelling works. And before we say goodbye, I wanted to just let you guys know what's coming up. We will step into the world of photography and digital editing as we sit down with the esteemed photographer, educator, and founder of Phlearn, that's PH Learn, Erin Nace, for an exclusive Adobe Spotlight interview. We love the Spotlight interviews. Join us as Erin shares his inspiring story of his journey, invaluable expertise, and groundbreaking insights into the realm of visual storytelling. So excited for Erin Nace. And Milly, we would love to have you back at some point, maybe in a spotlight, maybe just to see more of your work. I love this little thank you screen. Yes, good job. And remember to check out Milly's Instagram and website. Milly, would you like to say anything before we sign off?
Thank you for having me, actually. So thank you, Anna. Thank you, everybody. And hope you enjoyed the time with me. So, and I hope to see you again for another event of Adobe Live, and who knows, maybe in the future.
Absolutely. So instead of saying goodbye, we'll say see you later. Have a good day,
Yes.
everybody. Happy Valentine's. Bye.
Bye.